If you're like us, you're disappointed in yourself when you do not find the time to read. It grows hard to find time to pick up a book and read for a couple of hours when you have to juggle a job, cooking dinner, laundry, and whatever other tasks you have to do on a weekly basis. You shouldn't feel bad for it because it happens to the best of us. Follow us as we cover what we have done to get back into reading.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be chatting about kind of our reading journey and what we've done to get back into it.
So, ever since graduating and getting full-time jobs, we've both found it really hard to pick up a book and just keep reading for hours on end.
And it's like really frustrating for us because like there was a point that like we both like loved to read and talk about it and everything about it, but you kind of just get too busy. And to start, like I've always been a reader. I enjoy like the little nuances of it. I like talking about fan theories and just kind of like chatting about it, right?
Yeah, and I grew up loving reading. I even minored in English in college, and I just really loved breaking down the literature into figuring out what the author was getting at.
No doubt. And this year we really wanted to make a point at like getting back into reading, even though we do still have all the things to juggle, whether it's like work or whatever. So we thought it was kind of interesting, so we felt we should share it with y'all.
Today we're going to cover the tips that we use to get back into reading.
So my first tip that really rang true for me was that you need to be willing to start small. And that's with like the amount of time that you're spending on it because it's going to be kind of frustrating if it's been a really long time because you're going to be going slower than you want to.
Yeah, going slow is really hard for me personally. So whenever I started reading again this year, it was like walking through water how slow I was reading.
Exactly, especially whenever you try to like jump straight to like the more advanced books and it's like, man, these pages take forever. And like whenever you're trying to force yourself to read for an hour or two, it's just like, gosh, I'm not making any progress. Why am I doing this? So you just really kind of need to put that into perspective and not force yourself into something you don't want to. And kind of to the similar note, I think like audiobooks are a good method of getting back into it. That like it starts to get your mind to conceptualize how to like imagine the way you do whenever you read.
Yeah, and it also helps with your attention span, like it elongates it. The next tip we have is to keep your books in a convenient place or at arm's reach. We both like reading physical books, and by keeping them in like the living room or by your desk, it really just makes you want to read rather than just scrolling on your phone whenever it's convenient.
Yeah, and that goes for anything. Like, I've gotten into the habit of like bringing my book everywhere. Like, whenever I go to work or something, I bring a backpack, so I normally bring like 3 or 4 books so I can kind of choose whenever I'm there. And like, obviously, I'm not reading a lot, but like, say I'm on my lunch break or something, instead of spending that, on my phone on Instagram or whatever, I'm reading a book. I knocked out a chapter or a couple chapters.
Yeah, it definitely gives you that sense of accomplishment as well, rather than the brain rot you feel with Instagram.
Right? And like it can be kind of hard to force yourself to do it, especially like if your job is what you're like thinking a lot and stuff. Like you really kind of just want to shut your brain off for a little bit, but I mean, you get to get through a good book and you get to look like the smart person. But about like the like kind of Instagram thing that I brought up, for me, I decided to delete social media and I'm trying to kind of replace reading as that time because I always found it so like dissatisfying to just, brain rot at my phone for 30, 40 minutes. Picking up a book and like I said, getting through a couple chapters is so much more gratifying for me. But I totally understand why not everybody would want to do that, but that's just my personal journey.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. That sounds awful. I'm a bit of a brain rot connoisseur. You can do both of these things in conjunction with one another. You don't have to go completely without another.
Now for the next one, I really think it's important to pick the right book. For me, like whenever I was trying to get back into the reading, I was like trying to read like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And like those pages can be just grueling whenever you can't like conceptualize it and you're just so like bored out of your mind. So for me, whenever it was like that, you brought up that I should read Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. And like that was just exactly what I needed. It worked my brain towards trying to build that picture in my brain again. It got me willing to, sit down and read for a couple hours or however long it may be. But I feel that since it was targeted towards a younger age group, it is made for, like a shorter attention span. So don't beat yourself up whenever you're not able to immediately get to the books that you want to read.
Yeah, it's definitely slow growth when it comes to your reading level.
Like, I feel like you kind of need to see it as like a muscle that, like, you do need to work out your ability to do that.
Yeah, and you can't just start by squatting 300 pounds. Like,
Exactly.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't exactly, have to start with Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, and when it comes to choosing the right book, don't let the whole children's book versus adult book versus YA book, don't beat yourself up over that because those are just titles for recommended audiences. That doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it.
I totally agree. And we just did like some Hunger Games content, and like that was targeted at kind of a YA market. And that's a fantastic book.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just need to be choosy with which ones you start with.
Our final tip today is to romanticize reading, which, if you don't know what that means, which he didn't know what that meant, if you don't know what it means to romanticize reading, it means make it something that you would aspire to do. Make it something aesthetic. Make it something kind of beautiful. If you're going to sit there and read your book for hours on end, light a candle, turn down the lights a little, and get yourself a coffee.
Yeah, and I didn't really like know the term of like romanticizing it, but I totally do that. Like I turn on my, reading playlist. I make me a nice coffee, a latte in fact.
Yeah, and that's one of the big reasons why people make book nooks, because they're comfy, and it's like, who wouldn't want to read in a bookshelf filled room with little bean bags?
Yeah, no, it's super cool. Like at some point I'd like to have, a more dedicated book nook, but not yet.
Mm-hmm. And I've also kind of done this with like doing homework when I was in college. I would go to the library to do homework because I was like, that's where people do homework. And also, like, you're living the college dream, going to the library, being surrounded by books, and you're just like, ah, this is my life.
No doubt, and that can also go for like, going to Starbucks or a cafe or like we have like a cafe near us that's also a bookstore. Like, come on, that's perfect, right? It just makes for a good time. And you kind of need to like cultivate that a little bit.
Definitely. And if we forget to observe the beautiful things in life, then what is life worth living for?
No doubt. And I feel like a lot of things we're willing to like, go out of our way to do. Like I think about specifically like a lot of people who like lift, like they're like, "Oh, I don't want to lift at home. I want to lift at the gym." Like they want to be in the environment for it. Like
Mm-hmm.
putting your mind in that space just makes it a lot more easy.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, those are our tips. I think that they've done wonders for us this year. It's definitely neat, and we definitely do these different tips every day, and they've made a difference. So I hope they make a difference for you guys too.
Well, I think that's it for the day. See
See
ya.
ya.